What's up, guys? This is episode 5 of the Seeing Red MMA podcast. I'm Dustin here, going over this weekend's fights, UFC Vegas 70 at the Apex. In your main event, you're going to have Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann, two very high-level light heavyweights here. And then you also got, in the co-main event, Andre Muniz, Submission Wizard versus Brendan Allen as well too, and also the return of Tatiana Suarez, a lot of people who think is definitely going to be a future champion. So just going to dive right in here and just kind of start out, start with the bigger fight here first. The main event, in my opinion, would be one of the biggest fights, if not the biggest fight on this card. And me personally, I like this card a lot, especially it being a fight night at the Apex. I know some people still kind of like the the stadium kind of show there where you still got the live crowd and everything like that. Don't worry, I do too. But at the same time, though, nothing I love more than an Apex card with two very, very heavy hitters, getting to hear all those punches and kicks through the TV there. So definitely going to be a card I am looking forward to. But just to dive right in, Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann being your main event. Wow, that is a banger of a fight. Both guys coming off wins here. Nikita just beat Volkan Ozdemir here via UD a fight before that. Unfortunately, only reason why I say unfortunately is because I'm a big fan of Alexander Gustafsson, and unfortunately knocked him out in the first round. But big win for Nikita Krylov there. And Ryan Spann coming also off of a big win, if you remember, on the Adesanya versus Pereira card back in November. Just knocked out Ryan Spann just knocked out Dominic Reyes with the jab in the first round. So that was insane. Both very, very heavy hitters. So just to dive right into this one here, I think this is going to be a very, very good fight here. A lot of people say that Ryan Spann is a underestimated prospect for only the reason that his coaches have been saying, it's like, man, this guy doesn't really train a lot. Like his first couple of fights wasn't really training, that he's just that athletically gifted, which is crazy to me that he's that athletically gifted and barely really trains. I mean, you got to train a little bit to look like that. I mean, he looks like an Adonis out there. He's got a six-pack and the whole nine. But then you also got Nikita Krylov, a guy who's been around in the UFC forever, before even the Reebok deal. Fought at heavyweight, moved on down to light heavyweight. So he's been across the UFC there, been a staple of this division for quite a long time. Fought a lot of the top echelon of the division there, and kind of has been a proving ground to see who's going to move on to the top 10, who's going to stay up below the top 15 area. But, man, it's a great fight. I mean, both guys are phenomenal on the feet. I would say Krylov is a little bit more technical, though, a little bit better with just remaining calm, having that more kind of bouncy style there where he's able to kind of get into a groove and pump the jab, really showcase that in the Ozdemir fight. Even Nikita being better, I would say, on the ground than Spann. I mean, we haven't really seen much of Ryan Spann on the ground besides a few fights, but we haven't really seen Ryan Spann showcase what he's capable of on the ground, which maybe we get to see depending if Nikita decides to take it there, because I think he'll be the one initiating the ground game if that was to come into play. But what a great fight. I mean, such a good fight there. Especially I'm excited for Ryan Spann's come up. A lot of people are really excited about Ryan Spann, including myself, especially after that Dominic Reyes knockout. Unfortunately, Reyes has been on quite the skid since fighting John Jones. So, I mean, there's always got to be a winner. Unless it ends in a draw, there's always got to be a winner. I mean, I'm a fan of Dominic Reyes. I'll always watch him fight. But that was a rough knockout. I mean, on Twitter, if you go on my Twitter, at Seeing Red MMA, you can see the cage side view that I retweeted of Ryan Spann just popping that jab and just flatlining Dominic Reyes badly. Now, either that's a testament to Ryan Spann's power, which I think it is, in my opinion, but you have some people out there saying, oh, Dominic Reyes he's been knocked out a bunch since the John Jones fight, which I get as well too. I mean, you can only punch that card so many times before your punch card is filled, and I think Dominic Reyes is kind of on his way to having his punch card filled there. But still, nonetheless, I mean, you beat a guy like Dominic Reyes, former title challenger, you're sailing off into the top 5, maybe even higher depending on how well you perform in this card. Because if he goes out there and he does that against Krylov, I mean, we're going to Sizzler. this guy's the real deal. I would love to see him in future matchups with like Jan, maybe a rematch with Anthony Smith. I mean, shit, if he gets high enough in the ranks, Ryan Spann, after beating Krylov there, maybe gets a few other dramatic wins under his belt there. You get him and Jamal Hill. Come on. I know you're with me on that one. That's a banger. But that is your main event for the night. High-level light heavyweight fight in the Apex, so expect to hear some loud punches being thrown and landed, kicks and whatnot. But to go down to the co-main event, who, in this case, I'm a really big fan of both of these guys, more so one over the other. I know Brendan Allen, he's been in the UFC a while here. I think he had a brief stint in the top 15 and kind of has been fluctuating outside and inside the top 15 for most of his UFC career after collecting a few wins. But he just came off of a big submission win of Krzysztof Jotko and was actually able to send Krzysztof Jotko packing. Krzysztof Jotko is no longer signed under the UFC banner. So I think he actually just re-signed with the PFL. So expect to see Jotko in the PFL tournament here coming soon. If you watch the PFL, I usually only tend to watch like the finals there. I'm not really watching the whole season. But regardless of that, Muniz is coming off of a unanimous decision. Just all around, beat him all over the ground there. Basically, to coin Damian Maia's nickname, the human backpack against Uriah Hall was just all over him there. I mean, it was 3 rounds of Uriah Hall just getting laid on. And it was, most people would watch that fight and be like, oh, he's just grinding on him. He's just holding him down. The way he did it, though, I mean, if you go back to Muniz when he fought Jacare, he broke Jacare's arm. Nobody submits Jacare, which is insane, the fact that he was able to do that there. So you get 2 guys who are pretty much their bread and butter is on the ground. I mean, Brendan Allen does have a few knockouts under his belt. Not too familiar if Muniz does as well too, but I know that Brendan Allen has a couple of knockouts under there. Both fighting highly ranked guys. I'm actually surprised to see Muniz fighting a guy like Brendan Allen. No disrespect to Brendan Allen. I just thought you might give Muniz someone maybe a little bit higher in the ranks, maybe especially like after the Dolidze loss, give him like a Jack Hermanson or something like that, or even, I mean, if you really want to set him up, give him like a Marvin Vettori, which I know it's fruitful thinking, but at the same time, though, it would be a great fight, especially with this guy's style of grappling, how he's just relentless. He's huge for the weight class as well, too. I mean, that guy's big. He must, I don't know if he cuts a lot of weight or if he's like just really lean and just super muscular. I don't know what the deal is, but God, I was watching him when he was fighting Uriah Hall, and I was like, this guy's huge. He's bigger than Jacare, and Jacare always had trouble making 85. That's why he went up to light heavyweight a few times. But regardless of that, that's also going to be a good fight. Another fight here that, I mean, I'm interested to see what's going to happen because it's 2 heavyweights in the Apex, and smaller cage with heavyweights always makes for really exciting fights or really boring fights, depending on who the heavyweights are. And you got Augusto Sakai, he's looking to break his 4-fight losing streak that he's on right now, and then Dontel Mays looking to bounce back after a no contest decision back in his last fight. Forgive me for not remembering the guy's name, but it was, I think it was an Egyptian wrestler. I think he popped for some type of something because that boy was huge. But regardless of that, they're both looking to bounce back from not so, how would you word that? I guess they're looking to bounce back from fights they wish have gone their way. I mean, everybody wishes the fight gone their way, but especially these 2 guys there. I mean, you don't want to lose 4 fights in a row, and you don't also want to have a no contest under your belt. I mean, it's better than losing, but at the same time, a win is so much sweeter. So I think, honestly, in this fight, I hate to say it, I think loser goes packing. I mean, you got a 4-fight losing streak at heavyweight, and you hit hard like Sakai. I don't think you'll see him around much longer if he loses this fight, maybe like 1 more. But if he loses this fight, that's 5 fights in a row at heavyweight. You usually don't stick around too much longer after that. So hopefully Sakai gets the job done just because I'm a fan of Sakai. I enjoy watching him fight. He has some bangers in there. I mean, he's lost to Tuivasa and things like that, but there's no shame in losing to Tuivasa. But that's your fight before the co-main event. I guess you would call it the feature fight, if I get that correctly. I'm not too completely sure, but a lot of fight people are excited about is the return of Tatiana Suarez. After a long time being injured and outside of the cage, she's finally making her return against Montana De La Rosa, which is it's a good seeing point of where she's at in her career right now, seeing how far along she is in her recovery, if she's made a complete full bounce back, see how she's really going to perform. Because a lot of people, especially when she was fighting at 115, were like, man, she's gonna hold the belt that one day. She has a win over former champion, two-time former champion, Carla Esparza, but still, I mean, a win over Carla Esparza is no joke. I mean, she's top three usually always, or at least top five most of the time. So the fact that she has a dominating win over Carla Esparza, I mean, the girl can fight. She can fight, and I've been excited to see her return for a while because I think if you look at Shevchenko, her last fight against Talia Santos, her most difficult point in that fight is when Santos had her down on the ground. And that's Tatiana's bread and butter. And I know we're looking a little bit past Montana De La Rosa, but honestly, this is just a fight for Tatiana Suarez to get back into the swing of things, get back into being in the cage a lot, get back into full-time training, and really see where she's at. Because she goes in there and it runs through Montana De La Rosa. You just had Erin Blanchfield beat Jessica Andrade. And now you got in, I guess, a week from Saturday, Jones and Gane, which Shevchenko is fighting Grasso in the co-main event for the belt. You got you got 6 fighters right there at the top of the flyweight division, in women's flyweight division, that could be a nice little round robin type deal going on, especially with Erin Blanchfield's grappling. I would love to see Tatiana Suarez versus Erin Blanchfield. I think that would be fantastic to watch. I think maybe Erin Blanchfield, depending if Tatiana, maybe she worked on her striking in her absence there. Who knows? But just from, if we look at last fight to last fight, I think Erin Blanchfield maybe has a little bit better striking on the feet. And I think Tatiana Suarez is a little bit more aggressive on the ground, even though we just saw Erin Blanchfield before the Andrade fight steamroll Molly Meatball. That being said, that's how good Tatiana Suarez is on the ground. I think she's a monster on the ground. I think she might be the boogie woman. Hence, there's no longer a Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I think there might be a new boogie woman with a new kind of style, which is kind of frightening for that flyweight division. So, really excited to see Tatiana Suarez fight De La Rosa. I think that's going to be a phenomenal fight. Really excited to see her get back in the mix of things. And then a couple of other fights that I did want to go over. I know that they're kind of going out of order from here. That was basically like the top 4 fights that I'm looking forward to, especially being the top 4 fights on the main card. Sorry, I just got my laptop pulled up right here just to make sure we're staying on track. So yeah, Krylov, Spann, Muniz, Allen, Sakai, Mays, Suarez, De La Rosa. Okay, and actually still going in track here with pretty much the main card, opening up the main card. Mike Malott versus Johan Muniz. I like Mike Malott a lot. I do like him a lot. UFC debut, comes out there, and honestly, I didn't know who this guy was before he made his debut. I mean, hence the case with a lot of these guys, especially if you come in, show up, and show out. People are probably going to remember your name, like what he did to Mickey Gall. Man, he flatlined Mickey Gall with that nice left hook while Mickey Gall was kind of rushing in, made him face plant right in the ground. I mean, who doesn't love Mickey Gall? I mean, everybody loves Mickey Gall, but damn, he hit it good. That was a clean shot, very, very clean shot. I'm excited to see what he does in his second fight against Muniz. But, I mean, Muniz is coming off the Contender Series as well, too. I mean, he also had a split decision win over Darian Weeks as well, too, not too long ago. Wasn't a great showing of what he's capable of, but at the same time, though, I mean, it's your first fight in the UFC. Even though you fought under the banner with the Contender Series, you're at the Apex. Maybe that benefits him because he's already seen the Apex before and he kind of can expect what it to look like in the cage and everything like that, since it is a smaller cage, rather than fighting it like T-Mobile or something like that in the big arena. At the same time, though, Mike Malott, I really like this guy. I started following him on Instagram. His training footage looks really good. He's like a guy's guy too. Like he's not out there partying or anything like that per se, but he just seems like a really good guy. And I want to see guys that are like that win. Like I want to see guys that do well in the UFC that are also guys that I would want to grab a beer with as well. So Mike Malott, I'm excited to see his return there. Hopefully he gets it done in the same fashion as he did against Mickey Gall, and then who knows? I mean, two wins, KO, TKO, whatever the case is, dominating UD where maybe hasn't rocked and whatnot. You might see him kind of get shot up a little bit and maybe get some stronger opponents here in the future, which I would love to see. I mean, nobody's gonna bat an eye at that. But now we're kind of jumping around the card here a little bit, not really staying on track with the whole lineup of this fight, this fight, this fight, this fight, just kind of going over some of the fights on the prelims that I'm excited to see. I mean, you got the return of Jordan Levitt here. He's going to be fighting Victor Martinez, and Jordan Levitt's coming off of the fight with Paddy Pimblett there, where he unfortunately was submitted, but I mean, it is Paddy. Paddy is known for his ground game there, but also Jordan Levitt is too. So hat off to Paddy for beating a guy like Jordan Levitt in his own game, but still, at the same time though, no shame in that. It's Paddy Pimblett, but I like Jordan Levitt. I think he's a fun, creative guy. I think he knows how to make his style entertaining, even though he is more of a grappler. I know people give him shit for doing like the splits and whatnot after his wins. Honestly, I think he's trolling. I think he's trolling a little bit. I don't mind it. Do what you want to do. I don't care. At the same time, though, it's funny. It is really funny to see him choke somebody out or slam someone unconscious and then drop it like it's hot right there in the middle on top of the monster logo. I think not many people have done that in the UFC. I can't even think of like a female fighter that has done that in the UFC, but the guy's got game. He's a good fighter. I'm excited to see what he does. Now, I don't know too much about Victor Martinez here, but I mean, he's got some fights in the UFC, so I don't expect him to be an easy fight for Jordan Levitt, but who knows? I mean, Jordan Levitt's only 10-2, Victor Martinez 13-4, somewhat similar records there. Victor Martinez has more fights. Another fight that I'm looking at here, which now we kind of go in order, Ode Osborne versus Charles Johnson. Now, it says here catch weight, so I didn't see if like Ode or one of them missed weight, but I know it's supposed to be at flyweight, so what are they doing? Like 130, I guess? I mean, 5 pounds up, whatever. But that's a good fight here. I personally like Charles Johnson, especially after his last fight where he's got calf kicked galore and he's trying to slam it out on the ground there, stomp on the ground just to kind of revive his leg a little bit, get it to wake up. I think he's a character. I mean, it's a battle of the ponytails. I heard somebody say that. I forget where, but it's a battle of the ponytails. Both those guys have gnarly haircuts there. So Ode Osborne, I know his last fight, he's coming off of a KO loss to what's this guy's name? Hold on, I gotta find out this guy's name because he went for a flying knee and got clipped pretty much as he landed there. So let's see what it was. Tyson Nam, that's who it was. Tyson Nam got KO'd in the first round about 3 minutes in on the Vera versus Cruz card. I mean, Ode Osborne does have kind of a unique style, though. Real hands really low. Charles Johnson, kind of a more traditional, plowed forward, has really good kicks as well, too. But I think Charles Johnson might have been the one who missed weight there because Charles Johnson is just a big guy for that division. I mean, he's tall, he's thick, too, for flyweight. So I think he's a lot bigger than most of the flyweights down at that division there. So really interested to see that fight. But, man, this next guy, if you're not a fan of this guy, stop watching the sport because he is just pure entertainment all the time. Rafael Alves. Win, lose, draw, doesn't matter. This guy comes to put on a show. Last fight, breakdanced in the middle of the fight against Drew Dober. Was arguably, I know he's backing up most of the time there, but he was landing some good shots against Dober, which, I mean, is kind of a staple of Dober's career, just having a really good chin, especially in that Bobby Green fight. But, man, Alves is nasty. He's a nasty dude. He's so powerful. He's so explosive. He really knows how to just get after it. Nurullo Aliyev, I know he's coming off the Contender Series as well, too. Let me see here. Yes, coming off the Contender Series as well. So this is technically his UFC debut. So we'll see how he performs as well. Got some other fights on here that have my attention. Not as much as Alves, though. I mean, Alves is the guy. I mean, that's the Giga Chad of the lightweight division, besides Drew Dober. And, I mean, that liver punch that he ate from Dober as well, too. I mean, that put down anybody, so no shame in that. But, man, I'm excited to see him fucking moonwalk across the cage when he's fighting this guy mid-fight. I mean, this dude comes to brawl, and he's super early on the prelim. I think he's only the second fight in onto the prelims as well, too. So it's not like you got to wait a while to watch this guy go crazy. But got some other fights here as well, too. You got Joe Selecki coming back against Carl Deaton. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. I mean, not much to talk about there. I mean, Joe Selecki, they're both grinders in a way there, so expect that one to kind of go to a decision. Gabriela Fernandez, excuse me. And should be a decent fight, but ooh, I did not see this one earlier. Ooh. Let me see something here. I did not know he was on this card. I guess I must have missed it, huh? We got Erica Gonzalez on this card as well, too, known as the Ghost Pepper, 14-7. Lost to Terrence McKinney. No shame in that. Got subbed by him. And then Jim Miller did put him out. But he's had some good fights as well, too, outside of the UFC and LFX, Naciones MMA. So fighting from South America. But this guy, I remember seeing a couple of his fights before he got signed. They're just like scrolling through Fight Pass and whatnot. He's fighting combates a lot. TKO, submission, KO, decision. The guy's done it all. I mean, he knows how to win in every way. That's another good prelim fight that I would keep my eye on, especially if a guy's 0-2 in the UFC since joining. Expect him to come and try and fight here. And then he's fighting a guy, Trevor Peek, 7-0. I think this guy actually might have been coming off the Contender Series. Let me see here. This guy's name looks familiar. Yes, so got it pulled up here. 7-0. He's 29 from Alabama. Yeah, that's where I remember him from. Yeah, so he TKO'd Malik Lewis on the Contender Series, round 2. I remember that fight. That's where I remember him from. So yeah, that guy's a fun watch as well. I mean, guy from Alabama. He's got I don't know what you would call that. He's got an interesting haircut. I mean, something you would probably see in Alabama. So check that out. But overall, it's going to be a good fight card. I'm just excited for this to be kind of like, for me specifically, since I was on vacation, I didn't get to watch the Andrade and Blanchfield card. But when I did rewatch it, I was like, okay, I'm not too mad I missed it. But man, I like this card a lot, especially the main event. Again, Nikita Krylov, Ryan Spann. That's going to be a good fight. Ryan Spann's got devastating knockout power. Nikita Krylov, the crafty veteran who can do it anywhere. Standing up, going down to the ground. Expect a dogfight with these two. If I had to make a prediction, I did make a parlay. I wish I had my DraftKings pulled up right now, but I think I can do it by memory. I think I got a parlay going. I got Krylov Spann going over a round and a half. So, fingers crossed. Charles Johnson, got him on there. Andre Muniz by submission. I mean, how could you not bet that? The odds were pretty good. I think it was like plus 400 or something like that, which I was surprised at. And I don't remember the fourth fight that I had on there. Might have been Alves. I think it might have been Rafael Alves. I don't know. But those are basically the fights that I bet on, are the fights that I'm pretty much most excited about. So Spann, Muniz, Sakai, Suarez. I didn't bet on Suarez because she is a heavy favorite. And I mean, yeah, a favorite like that, she's like a plus fucking, I don't even know. I don't remember, like 600 or something like, or no, minus 600. So it's like, what am I doing? Why am I betting on someone who's supposed to win by that margin? It's like putting money on Shevchenko. It's like, yeah, of course. It's a good lock to have, but is it going to help your overall? Probably not. But yeah, it's a good night of fights, guys. I'm super excited for it. I'll get this uploaded probably here tonight just because I work tomorrow as well too, so I didn't have time probably after work to go ahead, do this, get it uploaded, get it out to you guys on time. I'll tweet this out to Twitter again. Follow me at Seeing Red MMA Pod. I think that's what it is. I don't know. Look up Seeing Red MMA on Twitter there. Still building a following. I mean, I know that this is only episode 5. I'm just some guy in my apartment who loves MMA, just trying my best. I just bought some equipment here. You can probably tell it's a little bit more glowy right here. I got one of those TikTok ring things. Don't expect me to renegade or Corvette on this thing at all. That's not what it's for. But yeah, I just really like doing these. It's a lot of fun for me. Even if nobody watches, probably still keep doing them here. But yeah, give me a follow on Instagram. If you like the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll keep doing these. I'll make sure to try and get a video out Sunday after the fights there, because over here in Arizona, the fights end kind of late. I think my buddy might be coming over too, so I probably will be intoxicated and will not be able to fully form a sentence that will be coherent. So we'll do it Sunday morning when I'm drinking some coffee, trying to recover. So till next time, again, like and subscribe. But you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.